and for the things that he was able to accomplish was super positive, and think he can build upon it in the future. There were some ups and downs, obviously, which I thought he handled some of the low points. I thought he handled very well. He's been humble to learn from them and to get better from them. So, as you work through that process, the same thing's going to happen next year, right? And you can rely back on those experiences, how you handled them, and how not to handle them, or whatever the case may be.
I think the growth between the hesitations and the mistakes in that Indiana game and then how he responded in the Ohio State game, how did you see him sort of adjust and grow in that it was only a week time?
Right. And I think it's probably more just the confidence in himself, the confidence in the team. I would probably attribute to that. I'll never forget when we were in Atlanta one time, Matt Ryan, he threw 5 interceptions in one game, and it was just like, this. But the next game he just comes back and just slings it, and there's no hesitation. So I just kind of compliment to him and his confidence in himself and his ability and the teammates around him that he was able to step up and play again in that environment on the road and play well.
How did you characterize the transition to bringing in Coach Holgerson at what was an unusual time in the middle of the season for you and your quarterbacks, both in November at that time and now through the beginning portions of this offseason?
Yeah, I think it probably in hindsight it was a blessing. I know he had spoke of the timing being unique, but we're so much ahead at this point than we would have been if he came in January, like I believe he spoke of. So it was a unique timing, like you said. It kind of came in the bye week, and there was some learning curve, not only from his end but from our end as far as expectation and trying to update him on some of the terminology and, just what we were trying to get done, and then also vice versa, what he wanted to get done. So this has been a really, really good time for us to kind of get on the same page, same terminology, same thought process. So, yes, in hindsight, it was a tough situation, but we're really benefiting from it right now.
How do you work it when you have guys like Raiola and Graham Stad who know stuff so well, and then obviously you're trying to bring Marcos and TJ along? As a coach, what's that challenge or what's that like?
Well, I tell you, the exciting part of that is Dylan and Jalen are so good at helping them. That makes it so much easier in the room. So, I'll try to speak to both sides of it. You want to try to speak to the highest, graduate level, if you will, as far as quarterback play, but also you want to, coach the details, but also the big coaching points. But when they can kind of intermingle and talk, amongst themselves, that makes life a lot easier for me. So I think the room is in a very good place that way, as far as each other helping each other.
What would you see as the level of importance in bringing in Davila, a transfer this offseason? What does that allow you to do with the guys who are older than him and also with TJ?
Yeah, I think just he does have the experience. He comes from a little different system, so there's some learning curve that way. But just the experience in the room, I think, has been positive. He's been humble. People kind of pick his brain of other things that he's done, but just the depth in the room, I think, just brings competition and excitement as far as anybody's in there. He made some great plays today, matter of fact. And then TJ's in there, and it's just the standard of when you're in there, it's going to make a play, whether you're with the first team or the third team, whatever the case may be.
Is his skill set similar to Dylan's?
Yeah, he's a natural passer, right? He's not necessarily a dual threat guy, but he made some plays even today off schedule. So I think he has the flexibility to do that when needed. But yeah, he's a true passer.
You guys brought in a lot of new receivers, so there's a learning curve there. But at the same time, what are the positives of just some of the things those guys have maybe brought with their experience levels?
Yeah. Well, and what's cool about that is you kind of have both ends of the spectrum, right? You kind of have a couple new guys that are older with experience, and then you have some of the newer guys coming in that are trying to learn. And again, kind of like what we're talking about in the quarterback room, those guys helping each other learn, accelerate that learning process has been good. And it's been exciting because the quarterbacks are trying to be involved in that too, particularly with the young guys to try to get those guys going as fast as we can, because what a huge opportunity, these 4 or 5 months in spring to get them ahead and so they can really contribute in the fall. So I think it's exciting in the fact that you kind of have both ends of the spectrum, young and old, learning and getting melded into the offense.
Glenn, what specifically about having Jalen in this room is important just for Dylan to be around and kind of have someone to learn from?
Well, obviously he's the experience. He's kind of the older guy in the room, had success before he came here, but his personality is infectious. He's he's very humble, very competitive. He's liked, from the offense, from the defense. Everybody loves what he's doing, what he stands for. So he brings a lot of things to the table that way. And this spring's important for him. You lose sight. Even us as coaches, we lose sight sometimes. He didn't even get here till the spring of last summer, right? So he was kind of learning the offense, kind of from behind even during the spring. So, we've talked about the importance of the bowl practice for him and how he was able to accelerate his learning process. And then this spring, we're looking for, another big step as far as his role in that room.
Stands for. You said the guys understand what he stands for. With a guy like Jalen who came from the NAIA level and maybe wants to get into coaching, like what do you, in your view, does he stand for out there?
Just the competitiveness and want to do it right. You know what I mean? I think he's one of the most competitive guys out there. He wants to include everybody. He has no ego, very humble, wants to learn, wants to help. He's the truest form of a teammate, I would say.
How do you challenge Dylan to run more at times when there's free yards to take? Is that something? Is that an emphasis or a goal for you guys right now?
I wouldn't say it's a goal. I think it's probably more just the mentality of what they're giving you. I think there were instances where he probably could have, and there's probably instances where he did that he shouldn't have. And after the season, I went back and made a cut up. I don't know, 400 plays or something like that, and tried to put them into buckets. Hey, good progression, poor progression, bad ball security, you know what I mean? Just try to lump them all together. And there were instances where we probably thought he could have ran a little bit more, and there are instances maybe where he wasn't great in the pocket or whatever the case may be. So I think it's not necessarily a goal to do that. I think it's just more if that's available, take it, or vice versa.
What makes a good 2-minute quarterback, and how can that get better, not only for him, but the whole operation?
It's just playmaking, right? At the end of the day, Coach has talked a lot about just routine plays. A lot of times in a 2-minute setting, there's just basic routine plays. Again, going back to taking what the defense is giving you. That might be a check down. That might be utilizing your leg. That might be off schedule, passing game. So I think it's a matter of just understanding the situation, what the defense is giving you, and how to react to it.
Hindsight being 2020, did he have enough guys open downfield in those situations last year? And is that a picture that might change here in the upcoming season?
I probably wouldn't lump that into one answer, but I think it's learning experience for all of us. That and each of those is different, right? Each of those 2 minutes is different, whether it be the timing situation, what the defense is showing you. Whatever the case may be, I think every situation is totally different. So, as you approach those and you study those, not only as a coach but as a player, you can, dissect it for what it was and learn from it based on that situation.
It can be tough to lead as a true freshman. Do you see that advanced leadership in Dylan now and maybe more comfort in his skin in that aspect?
Yeah, it's, obviously a year past, he's just a different stage in his process at this point. There's a familiarity with obviously scheme. There's a familiarity with, just what's happening around him. So we're super excited about that. And that allows him to, maybe grow in some other areas like that. So I think he's in a great place and excited about his humility to be better, his excitement and intensity to be better. I think all those are in a great place right now.
What dynamic does TJ Lateef bring to the room and to the field?
I think just the eagerness to learn and get better. Again, he's a mid-year enrollee, and this is a lot of new stuff. Obviously, a big environment. So, but he's super proactive to learn. He's spending extra time in the meeting rooms. He's right behind me in practice, literally every play, asking questions, going through the motions. Trying to get those visual reps. So I'm excited about just his aggressiveness to learn and be a part of it.
Do you think his high school prepared him in a way that made him ready to get here? He played for a very good program.
Yeah. He's obviously played against a high caliber of team for a long time. So, that nothing but helps, I would think. Yeah.
When asked what his biggest quality he looks for in a quarterback was, Kirby Smart, instead of answering protect the football, that sort of thing, said he wants a guy who can make something happen on third down when there's nothing there. How much of that freelancing do you guys work on?
I think there's an element to that, but I think that probably happens after maybe the play breaks down. Based on coverage or whatever the case may be, as far as the route, we want to work that piece of it first, and then if something goes astray, then I think there's more of a freelancing mentality. But I think there's a fine line of freelancing before the play develops. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think you want to cross that line, but there is definitely the element, there's some great ones, at a lot of levels that, once the element of the play is gone, then you'd freelance. Yeah, for sure. And I think we're in a great place with that. We had a couple, again, off-schedule passing. That's kind of what we talk about that way. And, it's something we continue to talk about. The old Bill Parcells, analogy, that's the first trick play of a game is a scramble drill. So, that's definitely an element we talk about and work on and try to practice and perfect.
Anything else?
Awesome.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. Next. Questions?
Coach, what do you like about just the group you have this spring? A lot of veterans, and you added a couple of veteran pieces as well.
Yeah, it's a great group. I mean, offensive line groups are always great. Great people to be around. And with the additions, you got a bunch of vets, you got a bunch of young guys. So everyone's, working hard to coach each other and bring the new guys up to the standard, right, and help them understand it. And then, keep coaching those young guys and get them better.
What's the period like for you at the end of the portal window? I think it's Rocco and Elijah Pritchett were the last two to kind of come on board. Can you kind of walk through what that was like for you? Obviously, you knew you had a need there, and you had to be patient to get those guys at the end, right?
Yeah, it's man, it's crazy, right? Like you got all these people, and you don't know what's really going to happen with every guy in there, and you go after a few guys and see what happens, and hope for the best, right? For the team, right? Find guys that's going to help the team win, and we got two guys that came in and took to the standard. Obviously Rocco, played for my mentor, Coach Easton, for 1 year, so he understands what's the expectations when, just from playing for Coach Easton. So he's been a great addition, and obviously Elijah as well. So
You had a 2-year starting center who's going to the NFL in Ben. What makes a good center? What are you looking for in terms of components of guys that can take his place and do a good job?
That's such a specialty position. Everyone talks about, you can put this guy in at center, this guy in at center, but it takes a certain kind of individual, to go in there, and you're pretty much, the quarterback of the offensive line, and a lot of stuff that the center does goes unnoticed. You're responsible to make all the calls, right? You're responsible to make adjustments to calls if there's certain situations that come up with defenses. So, you need a guy that's comfortable, right? Being vocal, a guy that's, gonna prepare. Usually the center prepares more than the other guys because they're in charge of so much of everything. And as a center, you pretty much, you feel like the whole offense is on your back. Right, because sometimes those guys make calls that no one notices, and then there's a touchdown, but we know, right? We know how important that is. So that's definitely a specialty position. You look for vocal guys that are, comfortable, doing things that other positions don't really have to do, right? So.
I think we all think Sam Sledge is working there. How has his progress been? In the first 2 years, he was kind of working up to this spot. How has he been this spring?
Sledge is doing a great job. Obviously having 2 years of experience with the offense and understanding the expectations. He's steadily improving as a high school guy coming in. That's the progression you go on, right? You just got to keep watering the bamboo.
You've got a number of veterans that are out with stuff this spring, but like Gatula and Corcoran and Teddy, what kind of versatility do those guys have when they come back? I mean, as far as could some of those guys play both tackle positions, move on the inside? I mean, when you start to put the puzzle together, how do those guys factor in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, building a unit, right, of 5 guys is not always the best 5, right? It's a group of 5 men that's going to work together, and sometimes it might be 6, 7, 8 guys, right? I'm not against rotating guys, so those guys, like you said, have versatility, and we really try to build that through these practices with other guys as well, right? One guy plays on the right for a couple snaps, goes to the left. So, because as you progress through college and you get opportunities in the NFL, you're going to have to be able to play both sides. So, being able to have those guys, veteran presences, right? Henry's over there too, right? They're out there every day coaching, they're in meetings coaching, and they understand the offense at a high level. So I'm very comfortable with them taking those guys, those young guys, and coaching them up if I'm not around. But yeah, they're doing a great job.
Is there a point in the off season when you that's the cutoff to experimenting with guys and you want them to settle in a certain spot, or do you keep moving them around throughout?
Week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you just keep building it. Keep building the versatility. You never know, right? Last year there's some stuff happened and we had to move some guys around, right? But that's where, you get those reps on task, which gets those guys ready for anything, and you're always looking for the best 5.
You mentioned Teddy and Turner. Like, how involved are those guys at all this spring? Are they just kind of coaches on the field? Are they taking part in some things?
Yeah, Teddy's doing everything, non-contact. Turner's rehabbing, and whenever they're on the field, they're coaching. I mean, it's awesome, right? I look over and Turner's over there coaching Elijah, right? He's over there coaching Tyler, right? And then Teddy's over there. Turner's over there coaching when he gets the chance to be on the field, right? After his rehab and his workouts, right? They get out there and they're boom, right, jumping right in it. So it's just another set of eyes that guys with tons of experience that understand the expectation, the standard, and the offense.
Rule was pretty adamant earlier this winter about the importance this spring for your second-year linemen, even some of the third-year guys who haven't had playing time. You're 6 practices into the spring. Who, if any, in that group is taking advantage of their moment?
That's there's always flashes of greatness from each guy, So like you talk about being an offensive lineman coming out of high school, right? It's the really high level guys, they'll probably play a little earlier, maybe second year than the other guys. I played with Joe Thomas in college, right? He was our left tackle when I was there, and he didn't play his true freshman year, right? One of the most highly recruited kids out of the state of Wisconsin ever, right? Hall of Famer, all that. But those really high talent guys, you'll probably be able to get on the field right now. I'm not saying those other guys don't have the talent now. It just takes time, right? The physical piece in the weight room, right? The Big Ten is, it's hard, right? It's a bunch of big grown men. You look at defenses, a lot of those defenses have 4th and 5th year seniors out there, right? So it's just a progression, right? Like I said earlier, we just got to keep watering the bamboo, and when they're ready to play, right, they'll be out there.
One of those guys, Tyler Canuck, he's been in the program a couple of years. How close is he to taking on maybe that bigger role for the
Yeah, Tyler's he's such a great asset for the team first, right? Offensively and then the unit, right? Just his presence, right? His ability to communicate with everybody. He understands how to hold guys accountable, and he's not worried about how people think when he does hold them accountable. So he's a great asset to the team. Tyler's taking huge steps, right? And just like all those other guys with reps on task, you get better and better and better. So we'll just keep progressing, we'll just keep going through the process. And but yeah, Tyler's doing a great job.
Cam Jurgens was in, I think. We saw something on social media about him talking to the team. How valuable is it to have a player not only who played here, but a Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion talking to your linemen?
No doubt. Those guys are, you can't put a value on, some of those younger guys in the room from Nebraska. They're like, oh, that's Cam Jurgens, right? But he was one of us, right? He was a player here, and he's an in-state guy. So whatever information Cam has, we try to pass that along to the guys. And I told Cam, I said, hey, get out here and freaking coach these guys up. Whatever you see, you can help them out. He's just another set of eyes and another voice.
What's it been like getting kind of a normal runway with Coach Holderson after he came in and drinking water from a fire hose there the last 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, it's great. Communication's been great. Obviously, keeping things simple, right? Mastering a few things here and there. But Coach Holgerson is. I'm just blessed to be, not only with a guy like Coach Holgerson, but just this whole staff, Coach Rue and everybody else. I mean, it's just, I'm just grateful to be in this position to be able to, work with guys like that.
Dana said that a lot of the scheme may stay the same because it makes sense to Coach Rule, makes sense to you. What about it makes sense and encourages you?
That's more player driven, when you have a language and a system, right, it's what the players understand, not what I understand, what Coach Holgerson understands. It's what they understand. So Coach Holgerson did a great job of coming in and learning the language, right? There's so many different ways that people call the same play, right? That's football, right? But you go in this system, they call it this, they call it that. And Coach Holgerson came in and just learned what we've been doing the last 2 years. So that's great.
Dylan every day now for about a year since he's been on campus. Have you seen him grow and change, and how different is he even this spring than he was last spring?
Yeah, he's still 19, right? He's still figuring things out. He's still a kid. So, but you can feel his presence a little more, right? Last year we had a veteran, heavy team that he was just trying to gain guys' respect, So notice him speaking up a little more. The work is still the work, right? You either do it or you don't. But I think in that way, I think his leadership, you can hear his voice a little more, So.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
A lot of the bamboo. We're simple.
Jalen, did you think you'd be in here up at that place a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, when you set foot in this program, like you'd be coming back for a second year and in demand for people to hear from?
Shoot, probably not. You're saying at the camp, when I was at the camp? Yeah.
Last spring, last summer.
Yeah. No, not really. It's I guess it's interesting being here. It's different than I probably didn't imagine that, but excited to be here. Yeah, it's been awesome.
The learning curve for you, you got here so late, like late June, I think. So for you to get caught, how caught up are you now just with the time you've had to learn the offense? Because obviously when camp started last year, you were just still trying to learn the verbiage and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I feel caught up. I feel like I'm super comfortable just, this being in this, like in spring, just having a lot of time now to just get so familiar with the plays and the terminology and all that. So, yeah, I feel super comfortable and just, I feel like I don't have to think a whole lot when I'm out there.
What do you think of Dana Holgers? What do you think of him?
I like him a lot. Yeah, he's just a football guy. He's a great coach. He's pushes us really hard. He holds us to just a high standard. He kind of knows what it's like supposed to look like good football. He kind of challenges us when we're doing like a lot of like routes on air. Throwing just on air, no defense, and like one-on-ones just to have high completion percentage, and just holds us to a really high standard. And I like he's great as a coach.
Have you ever talked to him? I mean, you guys have something in common. You both played small college ball in Iowa. Have you guys ever talked about just his experiences doing that and your experiences doing that?
No, I guess I didn't know that. No, we haven't. No, we haven't spoke about that. I didn't know that.
Dylan spoke highly of how you guys can bounce ideas off each other. How would you just describe that relationship and how it's grown, both on the field and off?
Yeah, I think just I'm able to just just be there, just for anything like we talked about, just some coverages that we're seeing or just some ideas within the offense. Just being there, just to talk to him, being a great friend, for him, and just being around him is a lot of fun. He's just a great teammate, and I think our relationship is very well. And he expressed he wanted me to come back, and I didn't really know, and so that was great hearing that I was wanted in the quarterback room and wanted to be a part of this. So just me and him were just competing out there, pushing each other, and just doing our best to get better every day.
What was that decision like for you to come back?
It was I kind of talked to Coach Rule in the middle of the season last year about it. I was kind of right in the middle of the season last year. Like I was kind of wanting to come back. Like I was like, yeah, this is kind of a no-brainer. You know, I had an extra year. I wanted to come back and continue to grow. You know, and get a better chance to play. And just wanting to have an aspirations of going to the NFL and playing in the NFL was like just kind of a no-brainer for me. You know, I have the extra year. Why would I just kind of walk away now? You know, like I'm going to use this extra year. It's great. You know, I've loved being on. You know, just being around this program and learning and just growing and growing my game. You know, and growing my skill sets. So, yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a no-brainer. I just kind of just took some time just to really think about it. You know, and pray about it. So, yeah.
Do you still plan to get into coaching when you're done playing football? I know that was something you talked about before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like, you know, if you ask me like, you know, what's made my career, I have a degree in business finance, but I don't really have a big passion to maybe become a banker or a financial advisor, you know. I would tell you, I just want to, do coaching, I guess, when I'm done. But yeah, I mean, I have aspirations of, going to the NFL and trying to, see if my game can, be there. And so, yeah, I don't think too much about the coaching thing, while we're sitting here and we're out here, getting through spring ball, but that's definitely something that, I've talked to, coaches about. I have aspirations of, becoming a coach and coaching in college, but I don't think too much about it, I guess.
Did you do
Right now.
Did you run the scout team quite a bit last season?
Yeah. I was a scout team QB. Me and Luke, and then Danny Kalen did some of that too. On some weeks. Yeah.
So that's kind of experience all its own. I'm sure you had days where you were really good against your own defense, and then days where you probably struggled. So what is it like facing a Big Ten defense every day in practice? Well, and how is that different from
Yeah. I would say like just in general, I mean, it's still just kind of football, like a lot of the coverage they run, they run in here, we ran, I was facing, in the GPAC, but I'd say it was great. I mean, it was what they were, asking of me last year, to be on the scout team and to run that. And I took very importance in that role, and so I was given a lot of, when I did have a good day, I'd give banter to Coach, Coach Butler and his DBs, like we got him today, and so. And yeah, I took a lot of pride too, knowing like last year on that scout team, it was like Mekhi Nelson, who's getting a lot of reps now, and like Quinn Clark, and there's a lot of guys on that scout team that I think they're at their point in their careers, they were I think I did a good job of helping them, and helping them grow and get better with that time over there.
What do you think of Nelson? Mekhi Nelson.
He's fast. Yeah, he's really fast. He runs super hard. Yeah. He's fast. He runs really hard. I think he's a great learner, and he's got a great skill set. Can catch it,
What do you see out of Marcos and TJ as they're obviously learning from you guys?
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. They got like a great skill set. They throw a really nice ball. I think they're both doing a great job, right now, and just growing, and just getting better. I think they're taking the coaching that Coach Thomas has been. We've been in the film room a lot and in the meetings a lot, and they've been doing a great job just learning. I think they both done a good job of just like picking it up pretty quick and doing a lot of like studying out of, on their own time. I think they're both doing a great job.
Jalen, what were the conversations like between you and Dylan? You mentioned that he expressed that he wanted you to come back, and I mean, did you guys talk after the regular season, before the bowl game? How did in person, on the phone? What was that like?
Yeah, we kind of talked after the Iowa game a little bit, after that tough loss, and he kind of said it then in the locker room, like, it'd be awesome if you came back. And then we kind of texted a little bit when we went home for winter breaks. We texted a little bit, had some conversations over text. And so he just expressed, like, man, I don't know what you're gonna decide, but like, it'd be awesome if I want you to come back. He expressed how he wanted me to, he wanted me to be here and be on the team and helping, so that was kind of. Yeah, the conversations.
Considering that you did run the scout a lot last year, of course you're running the Nebraska offense now in practice. What's your comfort level, being out there running the same stuff that Dylan is?
Yeah, very comfortable. I like it a lot better because when I was on the scout, obviously they were telling me, Coach AD was saying, you throw it here, you throw it to this guy. It wasn't a lot of reading the defense, I guess, so to say. But I'm super comfortable, like I was saying, just being around it now and having. I think I did a good job when I first came here. I just studied a lot, on my own, and just hit the ground running and try to just to know it to a T. So when I did have a chance to, maybe get some reps last year, that I would, know what I'm doing. So I feel like I'm in a great spot just with my understanding of the offense. And yeah, I think just now the more repetition, the more reps I'm getting, I think that's just going to continue to help me grow.
What do you tell your former teammates just about the jump? I'm sure you get a lot of guys that you played with. Like, what's the jump like going from NAIA all the way to the highest level of college?
Yeah, they ask that a lot. I just kind of tell them like one of the bigger ones, like just the time we spend in the facilities, in the meeting rooms. It's just a little bit more time we're here. I'd say like just the average, like just the depth and like just the average, size of most of the players, here with all the resources we have. I guess that's a little bit different. But I don't know. I kind of tell them at the end of the day, it's kind of just football. Like at Northwestern, I had a lot of great receivers and running back. We had a lot of great skill guys and great players there too. So I'd say the biggest difference that I've at least just noticed is just the time and everything just kind of around it, the resources. So.
Did you travel? Were you going to travel last year, Ross?
Yeah. Yep.
So the differences in stadium. So you're
Yeah,
at Ohio
yeah.
Stadium.
Right.
GPAC.
That too.
Well, so what was that like? You go to Ohio, not just Memorial Stadium, but like, you're at Ohio State.
Mhm.
These places. What's that like? A crowd.
Well, I mean, like our home stadium, we didn't have like a stadium that went all around. So like, that the size, like you alluded to, just the overall experience, just a little bit, obviously a lot bigger. And but at the end of the day, the field. Like I think it was my first game last year against UTEP, and I was warming up out there, and it was kind of my first time being out there, in front of the crowd, and I think I was joking with Coach Thomas, like still 100 yards, hashes are, like everything's, at the end of the day it's football, but yeah, it's definitely a lot different, obviously, yeah, for obvious.
Did you ever practice with crowd noise?
Not too often, no, I don't think we did, no.
So that was probably a change when you guys were
Yeah,
having to.
there's a couple games we had at Northwestern where it was pretty loud against some of our rivals, but. Yeah, nothing like Ohio Stadium or yeah.
Dana and Dylan shared your new nickname last week. How did that come about, and how have you tried to embrace that role on this team?
Yeah, it's funny. I think one of the strength coaches, maybe like Coach Dez, kind of called me that when I first came here, and then some players kind of took it and ran with it, and so yeah, I'm definitely an older player and have a lot of experience, so I'm cool with whatever they call me, But yeah, I just try to embrace, the experience that I do have and just kind of the leadership role that I have on the team. And if I can, use my leadership to, help everyone around me and, speak up in time that, needs to be, someone's got to speak up, I'll do that. And so, I just embrace that just to, be a guy that, others can look to and that I can, just come through when they need me.
Are you 23?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Have you stopped at all during this year, fifth year of college, and like put it in perspective of where you came from? That just a few years ago you started on defense at Northwestern, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's a long journey. Have you given that some thought just in how far you've come?
Yeah. I don't think a whole lot and like reflect a whole lot just because I kind of try to just live like in the moment, but it has been, kind of when you asked that, it has been a little bit, just thinking about it, it's been crazy. Yeah, I was playing defense, and now I'm here, and I'm just super grateful for my time that I did spend at Northwestern and everything that I've learned just throughout my career, and I think it's kind of all led to this moment and just being here and. Yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm just super grateful. The words gratitude, and I guess I don't spend a whole lot of time though. Just really reflecting on it, I guess.
What's it like to watch film with Dylan when the two of you break down film together? What's that process kind of like?
Yeah, we we kind of just go through and watch like the 7-on periods and the team periods and just kind of like his reps, what he maybe was seeing. We'll kind of just talk through our read. What the defense was on this play, and just back and forth, just kind of chopping it up, watching the film, watching the tape, and just learning from it. Yeah, just helping, back and forth.
What do you think of your guys' receivers? The new ones, the guys that just.
Yeah, I think they're great. I think a lot of them just have like a great attitude and just really fit the locker room well. I think that's kind of the most important piece, just to, when you get a new player, a new transfer. And then also, they got great skill sets, a lot of them that have, joined the team. And I think they're doing well, leading, just even using some of their voices, and I think, they're great receivers, going to help us out tremendously.
Anything else for Jalen?
Thanks, Jalen.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.